Good morning, dear students. And today we are going to carry on with writing 10B. So let's get started. We have three objectives. Number one, discuss the features of an article describing a person. Number two, streamline ideas to plan writing an article describing a person. Number three, compose an article describing a person applying the skills acquired. In the previous lesson, first we mentioned some characteristics of a hero. After that, we read the text about Sindbad and answered some questions about it. And finally, we described three people using descriptive language. Today we are going to write our own article describing a person. Please open your student books on page 133. Let's move on to activity E. Read the writing task below, then read the tip and go to the workbook pages 115 until 118 to plan and write your article. Okay, so first we are going to read the tip and then we are going to move on to the workbook on these pages to plan and write the article. All right, let's have a look at the following topic. You see the following announcement in a teen magazine. Write an article in which you describe the person who has made the most impact in your life and say why he or she has had such an effect on you. And this is what we are going to write about today. Let's start first by having a look at the plan. That will be on the workbook on page 115. First we have the title. Think of an interesting title. After that, paragraph 1, it's the introduction. Say who you are writing about and why you have chosen to write about this person. Use phrases like what I like, what I admire, what I love, what I dislike about this person is. Or I have always found interesting, exciting, unique, because. Or you can say someone is the person who, and you describe this person. After that, in the second paragraph and the third paragraph, which is about the body paragraphs, you are going to provide information about the person and describe him or her. Use adjectives like mature, responsible, honest, patient, sociable, reserved, witty, ambitious, disorganized, arrogant. So all of them are adjectives to describe the person you are going to write about. And finally, of course, the conclusion, in which you are going to say what makes this person so special and what effect he or she has on you or other people. Use phrases like for me, to talk about your opinion, to my mind, the way I see it, etc. Or you can also say is not just or is more than, to tell the relationship between you and the other person you are describing. Alright, first of all, let's plan our article. That will be on the workbook on page 116, please. Alright, so here the first part. Before you write, there are some questions that you are going to answer. First, who are you writing this article for? Then, why are you writing the article? And finally, how does this affect the style you will write your article in? Okay, please pause the video and try to do it by yourself, and then we are going to share our answers. Alright, so for question 1, who are you writing this article for? And according to the topic, you are going to write the article for teenagers. Alright? After that, why are you writing the article? Good. To describe the person who has made the most impact in my life and say why he or she had such an effect on me. Now, what about the style? Excellent. That will be an informal style. Let's move on to the next part. We have the title and the introduction. Try to think about possible title or possible introduction. Try to look at the questions and answer them. Alright, so what title are you going to give your article? Okay, we are going to follow this example. So the article, I'm going to find a title for you. First, more than just a brother. That will be a good title to describe a brother. Okay, the first question of the introduction. What's the person's name? Okay, James. What's your relationship with this person? My big brother or my older brother. And why are you writing about this person especially? Because he made an impact in my life, and that's why I chose him. Let's carry on with the body paragraphs. Okay, we have here the main part, which are the second and third paragraphs. We have the first question, how do you know this person? You are going to talk about your relationship and what are the qualities you know about this person. Then we have, what is this person like? Describe incidents which describe this person's personality. All right, so try to think about it, and then I'm going to give you some examples. All right, so how do you know this person? He is my older brother who helps whenever I need him and gives me advice all the time. And of course, when you are writing, you have to elaborate these ideas. Now, what is this person like? Describe incidents which describe this person's personality. I still remember how patiently he listened to me when one day I returned from school crying after a fight I had with my best friend. So you have to mention one incident that you had with the person you are describing, and this will make the reader more attached to your writing. Okay, let's move on to the final part, which is the conclusion. And here you have to answer the following two questions. Question 1, what makes this person so special? And what effect does this person have on you or on other people? Try to think about possible answers, and then I'm going to give you a suggested answer. All right, so what makes this person so special? We can say, he is the person who is always there for me when I need him. This is in the conclusion. We are repeating some ideas. Now, what effect does this person have on you or on other people? We can say, he has a positive effect on me and on other people. Of course, you are not going to choose someone who has a negative effect. Now, dear students, before writing, we are going back to the student book on page 133. We are going to read a tip. So, an article is usually written for a newspaper, magazine, or website. Use different techniques to make it more interesting. You should use a short, catchy title. So in the beginning, you have to use a short, catchy title. Okay, after that, think about the purpose of the article and who will read it in order to write in an appropriate style. It means formal or informal style. All right. Next, organize the article in paragraphs. Of course, you should have 4 paragraphs in your article. Okay, so organize the article in paragraphs which cover different aspects of the topic with examples where possible. So to make your idea better, you have to provide examples. The next point, ensure that you cover and elaborate on all aspects referred to in the rubric. Next, use lively, colorful, and descriptive language. For example, a variety of adjectives, phrases, expressions, idioms, etc. The next point, use appropriate linking words. Of course, you cannot have a good article without having appropriate linking words. Why? To connect your ideas and introduce your examples. The next point, use a variety of grammatical structures. That's a very interesting point. To show that you deserve a full mark in writing, you have to use different grammatical structures. For example, direct questions, indirect questions, conditionals, passive voice, etc. Depending on the style and level of formality of your article. The last point, comment on the topic and give your opinion. That will be in the conclusion. So first, we are going to plan. Number 2, we are going to write. And number 3, don't forget the checklist. Okay, the first one is already done. Let's move on to the second part, which is about writing our article. So that is the title. Okay, I wanted to move on to the workbook on page 117 and have a look at how our writing should look like. So the title, as we have decided, it's more than just a brother, and this is a catchy title. Let's have a look at paragraph 1, the introduction. There are a lot of people who have made an impact in my life. However, the person who has influenced me the most is my big brother, James. James is the person I turn to when I have a problem and whose advice I always follow. So in paragraph 1, I mentioned why I am writing about this person and the relationship and the name. And this is so important. Now, paragraph number 2. James is a math student in his final year, and he always gets top marks. He's very active too. In his free time, he does lots of sports or goes out with his friends, as he is very sociable. Besides being very clever and energetic, James is very kind and he's always willing to help me every time I have a problem. As a child, I used to go to him for help with my homework, and he never minded giving me his time. Today, I discuss all my problems with James because I know that he will listen to me. I still remember how patiently he listened to me when one day I returned from school crying after a fight I had had with my best friend. So what did we do in paragraph 2? We mentioned a lot of adjectives like active, clever, energetic, etc. Okay, we mentioned what kinds of hobbies he likes. Okay, and we mentioned one incident that happened between me and him, and that was a good one. Now, paragraph 3. Let's have a look. Another thing which I find amazing about James is that he gives very good advice and that he is honest. He always tells me what the right thing to do is and helps me see my mistakes in every situation without, however, making me feel bad. For example, after talking with my brother, I realized I am a bit disorganized, and that's why I am often short of time. So in paragraph 3, we continued talking about what are the good characteristics of this person who is my brother. Now the last paragraph, the conclusion. For me, James is not just my big brother. He's the person who is always there for me when I need him, and that makes him very special to me. So here we said that why I like this person, and in general the most important characteristics. Alright, so I hope that you are able now to write a descriptive article about someone. Now, have a look at the checklist, and this is very important. After you write your article, you have to check all of the following. So, we have 4 different categories: following instructions, the format, the content, and the review. So first, I read the rubric carefully. You have to mention it. I checked that I understood why I was writing the article. After that, I thought about who will read it and made sure I wrote in an appropriate way for this audience. After that, I made notes about the person I want to write about. So all of them should be checked. The next one, the format, I organized my text into paragraphs, including an introduction and a conclusion. After that, I followed the suggestions in the plan for what to include in the different paragraphs of the article. Okay, the format is good. Now the content. Let's check if we did this or not. I used an interesting title, yes. I used a variety of adjectives to make my article interesting and enjoyable for the reader. Yes, we did. I used appropriate linking words and phrases to connect my ideas and introduce my examples. Yes, we did. So the content is excellent. Now, what about the review? I corrected any grammar, spelling, and punctuation errors. Okay, I checked there were no mistakes of grammar and etc. And finally, I made sure that my writing is neat and easy to read. Yes, I checked that before writing, after writing. Alright, thank you dear students, and I hope you benefited from this lesson.